Let's hit the road. Most dangerous roads are not the ones with the biggest cliffs or the most dramatic drone footage. The roads that actually get shut down are usually the ones engineers stop believing they can reliably control. Sometimes the mountain moves faster than the repair crews. Sometimes avalanches, rockfall, erosion, or isolation turn a highway into a permanent liability. And sometimes the death toll becomes impossible to ignore. These are the roads that crossed that line. Routes so unstable, so remote, or so statistically deadly that governments either abandoned them, bypassed them, or repeatedly sealed them off. And in several cases, the danger is still there long after the warning signs go up. Number 10. Bolivia's north, Yungas Road became too deadly to keep as the main route. Here is what every road trip listicle leaves out about the death road. It was not built for tourists. It was built because there was no other option. The original North Yungas Road connected La Paz to the Yungas region, dropping from roughly 15,400 feet into dense rainforest terrain over about 40 miles of single-lane dirt shelf. Before Bolivia opened a safer bypass in 2006, estimates commonly cited 200 to 300 deaths per year from bus and truck crashes. Not thrill seekers, buses, freight trucks, ordinary commercial traffic with nowhere else to go. The real danger was logistics. Waterfalls crossed the roadway. Fog reduced visibility to near zero. There were no guardrails on drops measuring in the thousands of feet. Downhill drivers reportedly had to yield toward the cliffside during passing maneuvers, which meant putting your tires closest to nothing. Fatality rates dropped sharply after the alternate highway opened. That is one of the few cases on record where replacing a dangerous road clearly worked. Today, it operates as a controlled tourism route. Cyclists pay to ride it. That context is worth holding on to as you watch the footage. Number 9. Russia's Road of Bones was never designed for civilian traffic. The Kakorum Highway system stretches across eastern Russia through permafrost terrain that freeze-thaw cycles destabilize every single year. It was built during the Stalin era using Gulag prison labor. The name is not metaphor. Human remains are reportedly embedded in the roadbed itself. That is history, not marketing. Here is what earns it a spot on this list. The danger is not dramatic cliff exposure. The danger is mechanical isolation. During mud season, trucks sit stranded for days. Winter temperatures plunge far below minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Fuel gaps between supply points are measured in hundreds of miles. Communication dead zones are standard, not exceptional. A blown suspension component or a cracked fuel line becomes a survival situation before it becomes an inconvenience. No helicopter is coming on a timeline that helps you. The road remains open. It remains used. It remains one of the most logistically hostile driving environments in the Northern Hemisphere. Number 8. Alaska's Dalton Highway turns basic mistakes into emergencies. The Dalton Highway runs 414 miles from Livingood to Dead Horse, Alaska, with services so sparse that fuel planning is not optional. It is survival math. The road exists primarily to support North Slope oil operations. That means heavy industrial truck traffic dominates long stretches while you're driving a rental sedan. Here is what the brochure leaves out. The most common damage on the Dalton is not rollover crashes, it is tire failures and cracked windshields from loose aggregate thrown by passing trucks. Adigan Pass reaches 4,739 feet and can shift from clear skies to whiteout conditions in under 10 minutes. If you go into a ditch on the northern sections, you're not calling roadside assistance. You're waiting and hoping. The Dalton is legal to drive. It is genuinely worth driving if you are prepared. Prepared means a satellite communicator, 2 full-size spare tires, and a realistic fuel plan before you leave Fairbanks. Without those 3 things, the road will eventually make your decisions for you. Number 7. New Zealand's Skipper's Canyon Road is so risky rental companies often ban it. This narrow cliffside route was hand-carved during the 1880s gold rush. It is barely wider than a single vehicle in many sections. Multiple rental car companies void insurance coverage if drivers take standard vehicles onto it. That is not a legal technicality. That is a company calculating that the liability is not worth the premium. The danger is rarely speed. Drivers crash while reversing around blind corners or maneuvering near unstable gravel edges. The historic Skipper's Bridge, completed in 1901, remains one of the route's few engineered crossing points. The rest of it is raw rock and gravel cut by men with hand tools into a mountain that was not designed to have a road on it. That is why Skipper's Canyon is number 7 on this list. Number 6. Taiwan's Terco Gorge Road keeps fighting gravity. Terco Gorge Road cuts through Marble Canyon walls shaped by active seismic conditions and annual typhoons. Several sections pass through narrow tunnels, blasted directly into cliff faces. When a collapse happens, there is no shoulder to pull onto. There is wall on one side and open gorge on the other. Here is what earns it a spot on this list. Authorities issue rockfall advisories not just during storms, but after them, because delayed slope failures continue for days after a weather event passes. The geology does not reset when the sky clears. The road contains dozens of tunnels and bridges packed into one of Asia's deepest marble gorges. That density of engineering is a measurable fact, and it reflects how much intervention was required to put a road through terrain that resists it continuously. Number 5. Big Sur's Highway 1 is in a permanent battle against the coastline. California's Highway 1 through Big Sur runs roughly 90 miles of steep coastal terrain with minimal flat ground available for rerouting. The California Department of Transportation, Caltrans, repeatedly repairs areas near Rocky Creek and other chronically unstable sections. In 2017, the Mud Creek Slide buried portions of the highway under millions of tons of material and closed the road for more than a year. Here's what Instagram posts leave out. The route is not stable between closures. It is in a continuous state of partial failure being managed through ongoing maintenance. Wildfires burn the vegetation holding slopes in place. Rain follows and moves the loosened soil. The ocean erodes the base. Caltrans fixes one section while another section moves. That cycle has no endpoint. The road will keep closing and keep reopening and keep closing again because the coastline is not negotiable. Number 4. England's A682 proved ordinary roads can kill more people than mountain passes. The A682 in Lancashire gained a reputation as one of Britain's deadliest roads by crash rate during multiple traffic studies. That fact tends to surprise people because the road looks ordinary. It is paved, it runs through rural English countryside. There are no 1,000-foot drops. Here is what bucket list articles leave out about road danger. Familiar-looking roads kill more drivers than dramatic ones because familiarity reduces caution. The A682 was a case study in that psychology. Blind curves and elevation changes on a road that read visually as low risk produced consistently poor driver decision-making. Safety interventions focused on visibility and speed management rather than widening because the road's geometry was not the primary problem. Driver expectation was. That distinction matters if you are trying to understand where road danger actually comes from. Number 3. The Kakorum Highway was built through one of Earth's most unstable mountain ranges. The Kakorum Highway connects Pakistan and China through terrain defined by landslides, earthquakes, and glacial runoff. Adigan Pass rises to roughly 15,397 feet, making it one of the highest paved international border crossings in the world. In 2010, the Adigan landslide created a lake that submerged sections of the highway for years, not weeks, years. Engineers rebuilt those sections after the water receded and rebuilt other sections after subsequent rockfall and washouts. Here is what earns it a spot on this list. The surrounding mountains are geologically young. That is not a poetic description. It means the rock is still fracturing, still settling, still responding to pressure in ways that older, more stable ranges have already worked through. Building a permanent highway through the Karakoram requires accepting that the road will be rebuilt repeatedly for as long as it exists. That is the agreement. Governments on both sides have decided it is worth it. Whether drivers should treat it as routine is a different calculation. Number 2, Adigan Pass became the Dalton Highway's most dangerous choke point. Adigan Pass is the highest point on Alaska's Dalton Highway and one of its most closure-prone sections. Grades reportedly approach 12% in some areas, which creates serious braking hazards for heavily loaded trucks descending on ice or in fog. Avalanche exposure, black ice, steep descents, and sudden visibility loss combine into a corridor where conditions change faster than response times allow. Here is what earns Adigan the number 2 position. Summer conditions can be more dangerous than winter. Dense fog in summer hides both oncoming traffic and the drop-offs beside the road. In winter, at least the hazards are visible. At least drivers expect them. Summer drivers on the Dalton sometimes arrive without the mental model required for a road that can kill you in July just as efficiently as it can in January. That is why Adigan Pass is number 2 on this list. Number 1, Bolivia's Death Road became a global warning about infrastructure failure. North Yungas Road did not become the most referenced dangerous road in the world because tourists wanted danger. It became that because it was a critical commercial artery with almost no margin for error, and that combination produced a death rate that eventually forced an infrastructure response. Buses and trucks navigated narrow dirt shelves beside 1,000-foot drops while managing fog, mudslides, and collapsing road edges as part of ordinary daily operations. Here is what earns it the number 1 position. The road represents a systemic failure, not an accident. It existed as the primary route for years after its death toll was already documented. The decision to build a bypass was not made quickly. Infrastructure is expensive. Political will is slow. People kept dying on a road that officials knew was killing people because the alternative required resources that took decades to assemble. The replacement highway permanently changed the region's transportation network and converted the old road into a controlled tourism route. That outcome is the exception, not the rule. Most dangerous roads do not get replaced. They get patched, reopened, and patched again. North Yungas Road is number 1 on this list because it is the case where the system eventually admitted what it already knew. If you found this useful, smash that like button and subscribe to our channel so you do not miss our next one. Drop a comment below. Which of these are you brave enough to drive? Until next time, stay prepared and we will see you on the road. The common thread across all of these roads is not recklessness, it is geography. Mountains move, coastlines erode, permafrost collapses, weather windows close faster than repair crews can respond, and eventually some roads become too expensive, too unstable, or too deadly to keep pretending they are ordinary highways. Many of these routes are still worth experiencing under the right conditions, the right season, the right vehicle, and realistic expectations. The real danger starts when drivers treat roads built for survival like they were built for convenience.